A number of catalytic converters are being stolen recently in the Santa Fe area. Catalytic converters are part of a vehicle's emission system and contain various precious metals such as platinum, palladium, and rhodium. With the prices of precious metals rising sharply in the last year, thieves can get about $80 a converter, and it takes less than 2 minutes to steal. Greg Hasselden had his stolen from right outside his home.
I went out to start my truck one morning, and my meek little Toyota turned into a hot rod. I shut it off and looked underneath, and the catalytic converter was gone.
And so did you know right away what had happened?
Well, I wasn't sure what had happened. It was a very cold night, and, I couldn't imagine what happened. But as soon as I opened the driver door, I could hear it was coming from right underneath me, and that's where the catalytic converter is. And I had heard the stories. I had a friend that had her catalytic converter stolen, and I knew right away what had happened.
Where was your truck parked?
It was parked right in my driveway in a very nice neighborhood. We never have any problems, and, I was shocked.
Ramon Munoz from Meineke says they've had about 6 people come in the last week who have had their catalytic converters stolen. They were all from either Toyota pickups or 4Runners. Rich Montoya, one of the owners of Toyotech, says they installed about 15 catalytic converters just in the last month. They even had a couple stolen from their own lot.
We actually had a couple taken right out of our parking lot. And we've had numerous calls, people calling in with exhaust leaks, and we know right away what's going on. It just happens from one day to the next. We've had 4Runners, Tacomas, 4-wheel drive trucks. Those are the vehicles that they're targeting because they're very easy to remove. What the thieves are doing is they'll actually get under there with a cordless sawzall and cut each section of pipe and just remove the catalytic converter. And we had 2 of them taken from our parking lot. Of course, we keep everything inside, but for some reason those cars were left out.
One of the converters stolen at Toyotech belonged to Audrey Jenkins.
I had a minor problem with my vehicle, and I brought it to Toyota Tech, and they couldn't get the part right away, so they needed to keep it overnight, which I have done before and never thought anything of it. And the next day, the owner called me and said that there was a real issue with my truck, and I could tell by his voice that there was something very wrong. And he told me it sounded like a race car when he started it up, and that somebody in the middle of the night took a sawzall and cut off my catalytic converter.
Jenkins' repairs were covered by Toyotech's insurance, but for others, the cost can be substantial.
It can be from $800 to $2,000 in repairs. Because it's not just the catalytic converter that needs to be replaced, it's also the pipes, because they actually literally just cut the pipe. So you need the pipe from the engine back to the catalytic converter, and then you'll need the tailpipe and muffler section as well.
Detective Sergeant Luis Carlos of the Santa Fe Police Department says that 40 catalytic converters have been stolen in the last 2 months, mostly from Toyotas.
The trend, what's going on with that is our suspects, what they're doing is they're stealing these converters right off of Toyota vehicles because of, the converters have a higher amount of platinum, and that's the value of the converter. And they're just crawling underneath the vehicle and cutting it off with a cutting tool, such as the saw.
What is the police department doing?
Well, we actually following up on any and all viable information that we're receiving from the public. There was one instance where a victim heard a saw, cutting metal in the middle of the night, and this victim, didn't think much of it until the next day, when the victim discovered that the catalytic converter was missing from the vehicle. Again, if in instances like that, we need, we would appreciate if the community would give us a call and report these suspicious activities, so that way we can respond to it and follow up with it.
Have any of the thieves been caught yet?
No, none of the culprits have been identified, or at least positively identified, nor have they been arrested.
Where are the thieves selling the parts? Is there any way to catch them on the back end?
Well, that's a very good question, and rest assured that the Property Crimes Unit has been working diligently on this case, and they have actually met with junkyards and scrappers in the Santa Fe area, and actually Detective Sergeant Peter Neal was directed to either Albuquerque or El Paso. So we have actually spoken with the scrappers in those areas also, to try to compile a suspect list.
Is it illegal for a scrapper to buy a catalytic converter since they know it's probably stolen?
Well, it is illegal for them to buy it if they know it's stolen. The problem is, usually at the time of sale, when the thief sells it to the scrapper doesn't have concrete information that it has been stolen. Now because we have educated them and kept them appraised of the number of converters that have been cut and stolen from vehicles, we're hoping that they don't continue to purchase these.
Can that be mandatory, or are you just asking them not to purchase them, or are you directing them not to purchase them?
Well, unfortunately, it cannot be mandatory. We're asking for their compliance. These thieves know that that these scrappers will buy them.
Is there anything people can do to protect their trucks?
We don't know of anything that people can actually do to prevent this from happening. Again, even if they were to weld a piece of metal, these thieves are just cutting it off.
Detective Sergeant Luis Carlos of the Santa Fe Police Department. If anybody has any information, they are asked to call the Santa Fe Police Department at 505-955-5038. I'm Rachel Kennedy for KSFR News.